Artist to Art. I'm Aaron Jack. Welcome, Aaron Jack Line Art. We're going to be on with Gabe Weiss. So thank you all for joining this wonderful day. A beautiful day here. A beautiful day for an artist and the art. Artist to Art, Aaron Jack Line Art. Welcome on. Welcome on. We are going to have Gabe Weiss today. I really appreciate you joining us. Welcome. So we're going to have questions and things like that. Invite your friends with the comments, with a little DM thing there, or send it out. Send this to your friends. This is going to be a group activity. We're all going to be involved here. We're going to get Gabe on here. That's what we're doing. We're going to sit here and get Gabe. So thank you for joining all of us. All of us. Hey.
Apparently I wasn't following you, sorry. I'm like,
now
it's not
you are
showing up. That's on me. And then it started raining here, so hopefully you don't hear that too much.
Oh no, I love the rain. A little rain in the background.
Yeah.
Right. Oh man. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's my first day back to work. You got me like making me feel like a slacker because I do have a lot of work to do, but one hour, I guess, I can always catch up. If anyone from work is on, I will work extra hard later tonight.
Well, isn't that like the beautiful thing? We're just like on here at the beginning of the year. We're starting off the year together. This is where we're at, right?
New beginnings. I like it.
New beginnings, new ways of being. We're here. So you're in the Bay Area, right?
I am. I'm in a tiny little town called Albany, which is like I'm 1 block from Berkeley and like 5-10 minutes probably from Oakland.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. So what are your favorite restaurants around there?
I love sushi. So there's this place called Kerala. It's really, really good sushi. There's also this place called Vic's, which is like street Indian food from South India. They do like dosas and stuff, and it's kind of insanely good. I don't know if you
love dosas.
Dosa.
I was in the south of India. I got obsessed with some dosa.
Yeah, I'm so obsessed. Like, I feel like a lot of Americans just kind of know like chicken tikka masala, which is great, but I love Southern Indian food.
Dude, I was there in Alleppey. There's this town in the south of India, and it's like the Venice of the East. And this guy I know, I'll set you up if you ever go there.
Yeah.
This guy, he was making this whole meal for his grandmother. He had my friend in his little guest room, and it was just like this whole meal. It was probably 100 some degrees outside, and the meal made it feel like 200.
Oh yeah, that sounds amazing.
Oh man, so how was your New Year's? How was your?
I mean, I got a 5 and a 7-year-old, and keeping real safe. So I will say it was pretty much like every day since March 13th, except throw in some champagne, I guess.
Nice. And you're in your studio right now, right?
I am in my studio right now.
Awesome. Let's why don't you show us around?
All right.
See what's going on. You know,
Dan doesn't break doing this, but this. So
we're getting behind the scenes.
Very behind the scenes.
Yeah, we're getting the unedited, unclipped together, the real Gabe Weiss.
The real Gabe Weiss. So got some pieces for inspiration.
Oh yeah, show us. Yeah, show us first your work, and then show us some of your inspiration later. Sure. Just to get people a flavor, the people who don't know you,
right?
Who are ready to follow you right now. Everyone's following you. Like, just go up there and follow Gabe away. Whoever you're not following, follow.
This is A giant one I'm working on is a collaboration with this photographer from Berkeley that's pretty amazing, named Oren Rutchick. And then this is going to be a whiskey bottle
Oh,
for a company called Subtle Spirits they cast their own whiskey. And so I'm pretty excited about that. Here in about a month or two, you'll see my art on some whiskey.
wow. Oh, feel free to turn that camera around. Click that little like switcheroo on the camera, the little flipper button, the little flipping. You know about that? You know, there's
Oh
the
yeah,
little, yeah,
I'm
there you
hip.
go.
There we
Now you
go.
can kind of direct us around.
There we go. Well, not too much more than what you saw. This is a stack of a bunch of paintings.
Show us some. Feel free to take some out. Give us a sneak preview.
Nice.
Anything you're working on.
This one this one is a piece that I'm pretty into. This frame. This Cherry Fine Art Frames did this frame for me. And it's kind of insane. It's like, I don't know if you can see some of this detail work, but
Oh, yeah. I love that about the live. You can get us like far away, but then you can also like get us close. And
so that I like to do some collage work and some paintings on top of collages.
what are you laying down as the collage medium?
I mean, that's like a bunch of magazines from the 70s just on top of a canvas with like a gel medium, I guess. This, let's see.
Do you want to tell us the gel medium that you use? Like just for anybody else who's interested in that type of.
Yeah. This one, I think.
Yeah, what's that called?
Golden hard molding paste. In general, I feel like Golden has about 10 of these different things, and they all work pretty well.
Oh, yeah?
That's my experience. A little bit better than just glue, but that's how I guess I personally think of it. I want all the stuff to be archival. Nothing worse than selling a painting to someone and then it breaking and apart in a couple of years, and then they think you went cheap with them. Went Elmer's glue or something.
Right. So the golden, go golden on it.
Yeah.
Get that gold in there.
So this one is one I just kind of, I don't know if it's finished, but was working on yesterday. Posted.
Nice.
Interesting. Nice. Some of the work, like this one took a million years and was like less successful than just as far as likes, I guess, as far as like watercolor pieces that took an hour. This is like multi-day, deep work. Kind of same here. This one.
And what sort of medium are you using for these?
Mostly acrylic. I really like graffiti markers, and then these like Sakura solid markers too, which is just in the graffiti family, but they kind of end up looking like pastels. So pretty much that. I use oil sticks every once in a while, but I just don't have the patience to wait for things to dry for months. Rather do it, and I don't know. Just my process is really built for acrylics. Kind of have some sloppier. I don't know if sloppy is the right adjective, but kind of do the fine line stuff, and then a little bit more just freehand wild.
Are you like sketching these out beforehand, or are you kind of like getting in there and?
I mean, on some of the big paintings, I will, but in general, I mean, kind of like my profile says, I'm really into stream of consciousness. Given my choice, I think I don't like to over plan it too much. And that way they can't all look the same. Because I kind of do a lot of similar stuff, but I feel like, I don't know, by making sure it's stream of consciousness, they all have a little bit of a different flair.
So embracing that stream and seeing where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, it's years and years of practice of like doing these faces. It's like when I go back, I feel like I'm the epitome of the like 10,000 hour on something. Like when I look at my little abstract faces from even a decade ago, I feel like they're pretty bad. And then now I'm pretty comfortable with them. So
you said that this is a collaboration with a photographer. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
yeah, so this guy, he does like all these photos are with this camera from like the turn of the century, like 1900s or something. Kind of uses like an ancient process with these, I'm gonna butcher the name of how he does it, but they're these giant pieces of film and it's kind of just like a one take. So they cost quite a bit. So you kind of get one shot at it.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Is he using like a 4x5 or like an 8x10?
I think an 8x10.
It's pretty intense. So
Um,
8x10, like silver, something like a
yeah,
silver process.
I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure that's right. And so I don't have the ones, but now I've been working on some Sienna types with them that I just finished. We were gonna have a show at this really nice place in Berkeley, but COVID happened. So fingers crossed that someday again we'll get to show them.
Nice. So he's kind of taking like kind of like conceptually similar things, or are you like borrowing things from each other? How's that
I
relationship?
mean, it's mostly him just giving me the photos that I asked for and then kind of painting on top of them sometimes. I think I sent you a couple, so we'll probably get to see a few
Mm-hmm.
more of the bigger ones, but they're pretty giant. Like he blows them up for me, so they're like 36 by 48 inches, like 3 feet by 4 feet.
Oh wow.
Um, this is one that's just like super simple, but
Uh-huh. If
kind
someone,
of.
so we've got a question here that Comb wants to buy one of those that they see. I think
I
I
hate hearing that.
they want to buy one. Yeah. So how would they go about that? How would
I
they
mean, I have
go
a
about buying one?
website. I will say probably DMing me or there's an email. I have someone who works, helps me out with sales that um, you can get to by sending an email on my profile. But you can DM me and we'll make sure it works.
Oh,
So
nice. So
I'm
come
I'm
on.
easy. I take all the people that want to buy my paintings.
That's pretty easy. I love it. I love it. So just send a DM.
Yeah,
I'm the
send a
same
DM.
way.
We'll
Just
figure
DM me
this
if you
out.
want to
I
paint.
mean, my goal this year is to really try to find a few galleries. I've had kind of mixed results in galleries versus selling so much on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I feel like I'm maybe hitting the limits on what you can do with selling on Instagram just because I don't know. I was reading. I think there's just a limit on how much people will spend on Instagram versus like a gallery.
I don't know. I mean, maybe
Eh,
we can ask the people.
yeah,
um.
this is one I'm working
Mhm.
on right now. Definitely not done, but I kind of
Oh,
like
I love
having a
seeing the
couple
works in
of these.
progress.
I kind of like seeing having a few of these multicolored ones because I use all the excess paint from a different painting to kind of touch them up. So this one has a good chance will take me months to finish, but not because just because it'll be the excess paint piece.
Mm. Mm. Kind of like whatever you've left over from your all your other ones, then you start to like put it into this one, and it becomes
Yeah,
that.
I just don't like wasting paint. So
Mm.
I like to have one around that can kind of take like any color really.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Can you show us a close up of some aspect that you like?
Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. In theory, oh, if you put your finger over the camera, it doesn't work.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Nice.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I just love seeing these close-ups. Oh yeah, okay. So I see I'm seeing the photographs now a little bit more now. That's
Yeah. Some of these are
mm-hmm.
like overhead, like projection type things. So it's definitely in many different forms.
Mm-hmm.
And just started doing sienna types, which are pretty fun.
That's pretty intense. It's pretty intense to mix the sienna types in the painting. I love
Yeah.
it.
So hopefully I'll be showing those soon. He's going to take some good photos of it because they're pretty huge. So didn't feel like my little iPhone camera was going to do him justice.
I understand. I understand. So let's see some of those. Let's see some of that stack of paintings. Let's see something in there.
All
Let's see
right.
from the stack. I love like stacks of paintings. Just like
Stacks of
I'm just like
paintings.
looking through, and then something just like pops out. Yeah.
I mean, these are all some of my favorite paintings in here, but a lot of them have like this protective coat on it.
Oh yeah. Show us this coat because we've got some artists in here who might want to learn something.
Um, I mean, I think it's just plastic covering so that they don't get too messed up. It's another kind of work in progress.
The Rubine Red Gallery says the coral one.
The coral one. I assume that's the coral one on the right.
I assume maybe be a little more specific.
I
um,
I think that's probably right. I'm not. Guess I gotta work on my color knowledge as far as names.
do you name them at all, or do they
What's
go
that?
kind of like? Do they ever get named at any point?
The paintings.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely like having other people kind of name them. I do name them, and people seem to like that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Coral
Get off the
background and
stand.
stack. Bottom right stack.
Coral, I think, is pink.
Oh, well then maybe we'll just check that one out. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're talking about this one. Sweet. So, what kind of inspiration inspires you behind doing these faces? Like, what are like some of your drivers in that?
Um, I mean, so I do politics for a living, and so there's kind of it started with just this feeling of like there's multiple aspects of my personality. I think I posted the other day like it's like I live in multitudes or whatever. It's like I have the parent side, I have the artist side. So it's kind of trying to show different sides, I guess, of myself. So they're pretty autobiographical, at least started that way. And then um, they've kind of slowly taken on different meanings, but they are acrylic, except every once in a while some oil markers. Someone asked that question.
Yeah. Carlos asked.
Um, so I think that, and then just kind of, I like this idea that they could be placed like 10,000 years ago, and I don't think be too out of context. Or I'd like to think in a couple hundred years they'd still be like in context. I kind of like this idea of uh, you don't necessarily know what time frame I'm trying to represent. So that That's a little bit of the meaning.
So there's this autobiography. So you're working in politics. You're like political during the day and painting by night.
Pretty much, that's exactly right.
Nice. And and so it seems like you're also working with this idea of time as well.
Time?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
how do you consider time when you're all of these different personalities or all of these different aspects in one singular like painting or like that representation of these different aspects from different times?
Um, honestly, I don't think I give it that much deep thought, if I'm just being honest, as
Yeah,
far as
be
like
honest. Like,
I'm just trying to channel this energy, I guess, and trying to be authentic with it, but also have it be like I love it when someone from like South Africa is like, this is a South African painting, or someone from like Dubai is like, you're very like your paintings remind me of like that they're made here by a Dubai artist. Like I think for me there's something about trying to create something that's universal and that hits kind of notes from every culture. I spent time growing up in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and so kind of always been drawn to color and just different cultures, kind of the blend, I guess. Melting pot, if you will.
how did you? So, what brought you to Rio when you were younger?
My dad was writing a book. He was like grad school, so he was writing his dissertation, and he needed all the research from there. This is a collaboration with my friend who does it. His Instagram handle is It's Just Blake, but he kind of did some realistic boxes in here. You can kind of see, and then it's kind of hard to see with
Mm.
this plastic on it, but what can you do?
Yeah, what kind of plastic are you using for this? Like, what's is it just like
Um,
a sheet, or how are you doing?
yeah, it just keeps it from smudges getting on them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's nothing worse than selling a painting and then realizing that like it had some smudge and then having to try to rework it or something.
Oh yeah,
So
that's a good tip.
yeah, just have I don't know,
Protect the
slowly
art.
trying to get a little bit more careful with some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm. So there was like a moment in there that you're like, oh, that didn't work, and then this one's a little different. Why don't you tell me about this one?
So this one is very collagey, and then I kind of wrote stuff in the back and used a lot of gold spray paint, but sometimes, I don't know, just trying to channel some kind of deeper thought. I think a lot of people kind of stay at this real kind of basic level that society's trying to keep us at, whether it's through social media or whatever it is. There just seems to be an emphasis on not being weird or thinking deeply. So, I mean, I guess I don't like to like spell it out for folks, but it's like here, there's like the little blue pill, I guess, from the Matrix. Um, but a lot of the work, I think, looks good on Instagram, but I'd really think that it is meant to be kind of viewed from up close. And I think most of my collectors kind of find it's like, I loved it when I saw it on Instagram, but when it's in my house, I love it that much more. So feel good about that. The little one on.
Yeah, Kamal, you're just gonna have to DM him. That's the best way, I think. um, so why don't you tell us a little bit more about like that thought that goes into some of these, like talk us through a little bit of it, bring us to that place where you want us to be, beyond just like the surface level of like, oh, it's pretty. Like, how can we understand? Oh, I guess we lost the connection. We'll be right back. We're back here right now, but make sure to add me so that way in case things get lost or another one. Go at me. Go at us both. So
Sorry, I didn't hear some of that. I
oh no,
have a
it's cool.
limit on how much time I'm on Instagram, and because we're doing this live interview, I hit my limit, so it just like turned off for a second. I was like, darn it, that didn't work. Should have turned off the limits for today. But
It's all
keeps me
good.
from being on here too much.
I understand. Um, I understand all too well. So why don't you tell us like a little bit more of like what what are some of like the thoughts behind it? How can we understand what's going on at a deeper level?
So I had a show at a gallery. I don't know if you can see this, but this was kind of the writing for it.
Mm-hmm. Talk us through it because we can't really read it on here.
Okay,
You
so
don't have to read it word for word
yeah,
if you don't want it, but just like share.
I mean, I really like this, like kind of doing the same thing, but then just naturally spontaneity happens and mystery, and I mean, a color mixes together and looks fantastic or looks bad, and you go over it or something. I think painting, and especially when you do collage work, you can really just cover up any mistake you make, which I really find to be um, pretty rewarding. There's not a lot of high stakesness, I guess, with my art where I'm just like, oh, I've butchered that. There's no coming back from it. I always feel like, well, I can fix this.
Mm.
Um, so the writing just kind of talks about, being influenced by my travels and kind of gratitude, I guess, and that we are kind of spiritual beings and maybe a little bit more complex than we'd like to put on.
Mm. You want to tell
That
me
makes
a little bit more about that? I I mean like I'm on the wavelength. I want to be able to share with the audience a little bit more about like maybe some of that depth to your understanding of some of that.
um I mean, just to say, I think we're probably a little bit more powerful than we think. I think there's probably a lot more to life than just kind of consumerism and materialism and um, trying. It's like hard to say other than just like diving a little bit deeper and maybe seeing that we are like, I mean, even if you keep it at the most basic levels, we're just incredibly amazing creatures. Like the fact that you exist right now is like a 1 in 100 trillion chance. Like anything could have messed it up. Just like what your mom ate the day before could have changed you not existing, type of thing. So, just like even if you don't get all spiritual and woo woo about any of this stuff, like just our natural being here is just beyond a miracle. And so I guess just trying to get people to get in the headspace of thinking like maybe I shouldn't just go around my day just kind of like doing whatever the man asked me to do, or uh so I don't know if that, but just kind of layers on life. I think for me that totally exists where there's a part of me that does politics and part of me that's like a great dad who watches cartoons with his kids or something like that. And then there's this part of me that he's thinking about like what started the universe.
Hmm. Hmm. Tell us a little bit more about each of those. That sounds like fascinating. Sounds like you have some depth to each of them that you're trying to express in some of this.
Yeah, I mean, some of this is redundancy and kind of what we consider waste. So, like, this piece you can see has some phone book in it, which I just think is like kind of one of the more obsolete things that exist, in that we have the internet, but like millions of trees are getting cut down to create these books that no one uses. Um, so I like to try to take some of that material, I guess, and try to create something beautiful with kind of the different things that exist. Or, I mean, some of this is like adding old sketches on or pieces of voting material. Um, but yeah, all of these will be artifacts. I like to try to think of my art as like an artifact of like, if someone in 200 years saw this, they'd be like, what were these people thinking in 2020? Like, I'd like them to have a deeper thought than they were just thinking about destroying the planet and buying stuff from Amazon. Um,
So show us some of these like little thoughts that you want people to be thinking, or that like you think this is where we're at. Like what's going through? Because you're showing us like the little voting thing. You're showing us like the paper.
I guess it just totally depends on the piece. I feel
Yeah.
like um,
You're right there in your studio. Show us anything.
right?
Go to where your
No,
heart says.
I just go. I mean, let's see here. Like this piece. I don't know if you can see kind of the interlocking hearts, but I'm trying to kind of have like a prayer happening, I guess. Like in the right corner. Um Lighting's a little weird, but
No, it's perfect. Just take us in. Take us into these sections so that we can really get a close up view of like your understandings.
yeah, I really like this idea of like interlocking hearts. And I think people can love multiple things and people and hold different kind of loves, I guess. Like, I have deep love for a lot of my friends, obviously my wife and parents, brother type of thing. So I think I mean, love to me is kind of like the one universal concept. And so I really do try to, I don't know, have quite a few hearts in my work. It's the easiest, I guess, symbolization of love. This one is this idea of like kind of dancing with almost yourself, but also dancing with someone and becoming one. So it's only one set of legs and then multiple heads.
Mm. And you said it's like a prayer for you.
This top right corner, yeah, I think it's kind of almost this duality of I can be super happy and grateful for what I personally have, and then, um, but then also have a
Do we lose you? Thank you all for joining. I hope you all make sure to follow both Gabe and myself. I'm here usually every Tuesday, but today we're here on a Monday. Thanks for joining for the new year. I really appreciate you all. That's why I do this, is you know, to also be here with you. So make sure to follow Aaron Jack Line Art We're going to have Gabe back on, and make sure to follow Gabe. So Gabe's here. Gabe's here. We're just, this is what happens. It's live.
It's live.
It's
Very
live.
live.
This is how we know that we're alive.
I know. I'm getting FaceTime calls from my mom, and just down in Florida, like wanting to show me manatees, and I'm like,
Nice.
doing a live show. What can you do?
Well, it's another whole thing. That's another face.
Yeah.
So there's some prayers happening in here. Oh yeah. Take out another one. I love it. I love the in the studio thing. Like we're getting to see.
Great for your listeners.
We're getting to see what it's like. Oh yeah, tell us.
I mean, this is pretty, I guess, maybe more obvious, but you have the wake up now. Guess somewhat straightforward, but this idea of, I just think we're in a period of time where a lot of people that I run into, and I think particularly in the United States, are just kind of sleepwalking through life a little bit. Like, I personally am a believer in that we have an infinite more potential just as a race, and we could be doing just so much more. So I guess my goal is to have works that kind of encourage people to think deeper, want maybe a little bit more out of life than what's happening right now.
To have a soul filled.
Yeah.
I was just reading some Jung last night, so to have a soul filled. That was my takeaway from last night.
Yeah. So maybe do one or two more pieces.
Yeah. I love the who knows what will come next type of thing. I don't even know.
No.
We're on this journey together. That's part of the waking up. We don't know.
Right. Which, like, the mystery of all of this just really fascinates me, I guess.
How so?
I mean, just going back to, like, the first question, like, what started all of this? I remember asking that at, like, 4 or 5, and my parents were just like, I don't know how to answer this. The Big Bang? It's like, but what started the Big Bang? God? What started God? I mean, if you just realize just the limitation of the human brain to not really understand always was. So I don't know. I just think inherent in being a human is a deep mystery.
We have a question about the Brazilian aspect.
No, I'm like a Midwestern white guy, but did spend time in Brazil, and then as a little kid, and then in high school too.
And you've talked about some of your travels. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I went to University of Wisconsin in Madison, and then backpacked Europe for about 10 months, and got to visit most of the countries there. Then for our anniversary, my wife and I did 3 months in Central and South America. And then right before kids, when we knew we were going to try to have kids, we went to India for like 5 weeks. But pretty much anytime I get the opportunity to go to another country, I'm game. So if you know any good galleries out there, folks, in different countries, as soon as I get a needle in my arm for a vaccine, I'm ready to travel. I've got the super bug to travel.
I understand that. I'm right there with you.
I cannot wait.
Right? I'm collecting those invitations.
Yeah, right now, just putting it out in the universe. You know, a gallery in your place that wants some art from the Bay Area, some cubist meets street art meets, I don't know, abstract art maybe. Hook
Yeah,
it up.
and you're talking about these ideas of these different aspects of self. And then the interlocking hearts. Could you tell me a little bit more, like where we're at, like with the words and with the people? Because I think often on Instagram we get lost with like, oh, the prettiness of it all without getting that depth of what's behind it. You know, how do we delve in deeper into the art, into ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, each their own on how they do it. I think some it's meditation, some it's like shamanistic, like ayahuasca. I know has been incredibly beneficial to many people. Mushrooms, and I mean, I think there's different ways of kind of figuring out the same thing, which is like the world was created with like infinite love and has the potential to be kind of, if not utopia, a lot closer than kind of this duality of like we have to, half the stuff has to be shitty and half the stuff has to be nice, which I feel like is right now where we tolerate things like Donald Trump and just, I mean, late stage capitalism, I think, is going to be harder for some people than others. But if you kind of have some kind of inner peace and, like you say, the interlocking hearts, I mean, I think that's just like a depth of both love for yourself and then a depth of like being surrounded by people who you love. I mean, to me, that's kind of, with my kids, we always talk about like what fills your bucket. Are you filling someone's bucket? And so, and also this idea of like improving the room that you're in. So I really have always liked this concept of go in and try to improve the space that you're at. And I'd like to think my art does that too. You know, it's like most people that have one of my pieces up just speak to like it improves their mood looking at it. And so that makes me happy, I think. Just knowing that maybe I'm shifting people's kind of view even for a second, because a lot of times that's all it takes. And I'm really into this idea of like we change kind of in
Okay,
the
why don't you
minute.
shift around the camera while you're talking?
Great.
Yeah, talk to us.
Talk to us. So I
Shifting the
like,
mood. Yeah,
yeah,
keep going.
done seeing my art. It's no good. We're done.
I'll put up some. I'll put
Just
up
this
some.
pretty face. Um, so I don't know. Some rambling. I think I showed that one earlier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the ones on the Sienna types uh, that you're showing. Which, like, that picture just does not do justice on, I guess, how cool I think these images are. Because it's like a,
Right.
yeah. I mean, I think you kind of get the concept, but like, there's just these background pictures that looks like the veil. I don't know. It's
Say
like
it. Say
there.
it. Say
I
it.
don't know. Like there's that image of like there's some veil that's supposed to be Jesus. I'm not saying it is, but like I kind of think it has a similar. These Sienna types have a similar vibe where it's like you kind of make out the image and then kind of don't. And I really like this idea of mixing that with paint.
Kind of like represents it, could we say?
There we go.
The imagery represents it to you.
Yeah, that's that's probably a more accurate way of saying it.
I don't know. It's an idea. It's an idea. It doesn't have to be
No,
it. It could be a representation.
no, I like it. So I mean, what's got you doing this as far as interviewing people? for me personally, as an artist, I will tell you that your interviews with kind of people in the industry are what I find the most useful, because I come from politics, so art is really just been the last 5 years of showing it on Instagram. Before that, it was just this weird hobby I had by myself. And then, I've been in some galleries and whatnot, but I wouldn't say I have like some great understanding of the industry. So just know from an artist, it's super helpful to hear you meet, curators and people that sell art and gallerists and stuff. So please keep that up.
For sure. Yeah. And if you know anybody, I'm happy to, see if they fit in the in that realm, because I find it super helpful. It's like going from photography and video. I've always had art, painting, drawing on the side. Kind of just I've always done it. Like, sometimes just hours a day, just like getting really into it. But I never really went public with it until COVID. So for me, it's just there's a couple things. Is just like being able to connect with people's number one in this time. Like, we need to be able to connect. We need to see the people. We need to be able to connect ourselves. That's number one. Number two, it's just like I just follow my curiosity. I'm like, oh, I'm curious about this. I'm curious about that. I'm like, oh, someone, being able to talk. I'm just all of it, I'm like reading all this stuff and I start thinking about these ideas and start writing it down, and now being able to talk to you, and I'm able to kind of see what it is in the outside world, and it's almost very validating in a lot of the ways, like, oh, I'm not so crazy myself. And I figure if I'm thinking about these ideas and you're thinking about these ideas, and there's some shared ideas in that, and we kind of came up with it ourselves at different points in time in different ways, then there must be some, I don't know, something that for more people out there, there must be other people on the precipice of understanding that I know just talking about it can help. So that's it's kind of it, is that I'm getting to learn, I'm getting to connect, and so that keeps me going. And talking to people in the industry, it's like how is that balance and being able to share that with those different audiences?
Yeah, I'm a little jealous. I'm like, maybe I need to do a show. I want to
Do it.
I want to have an excuse to go talk to some of these awesome people that, I feel like it's weird because, I used to work for a senator. Like, I've been around important people in my adult life in politics, but then when I'm like meeting like a gallery owner who, like, in the scope of things isn't the most important person in the world, I'm like feel very inadequate. I feel like there's definitely that inner voice that's like you're a fraud. But
I think
I
that's
just
kind of the
finished
thing,
this
is
book.
we all kind of
Go for it.
I think that's kind of the thing, is we're all kind of, how do we fill our soul, and we're each kind of these multifaceted people that you show in your work. And what is it to know that we're, to know the different people and to connect and to create together. And so, just as you said, like, you might feel like a fraud in front of one person because of like another face that they have.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens to me too. So I'm not like, you.
No, I get
like, it happens to many of us.
Yeah. I think that, the imposter syndrome stuff. I think I just finished this book by Jerry Saltz. I don't know if you know him from the.
I follow him.
Yeah, great follow on Instagram, one of my favorites. But he did a book like How to Be an Artist, and one of the little lines that I really loved was like, be delusional. And it's like, yeah, you can know all this stuff and feel inadequate or whatever, but at the end of the day, like we should say like once a day, just like you can live like wallow in it, but then every once in a while just go, that's all true, but I'm a fucking genius. And like that feels, I don't know, there's something about that that I liked as just an artist trying to make sense of this. Is just like maybe I just need to be more delusional. It's like, all right, all this is true. It's hard to make it in the art world and all this stuff, and there's better artists out there, but I'm a fucking genius.
Well, I think that's the other part is you put in the time, and I think that's one of the important things is that balance, like to be the one genius, one can be a genius without the time, but then the time with a genius,
Yeah, I mean,
right?
you can
Because the
I can
genius
see
can't be
improvement.
shown without like an output.
Right, I think that's right. And I just think, I don't know, for me, I guess I see the results kind of almost monthly, where I'm like, I love this painting right now. And then I'll see one that I loved 3 years ago and just like, I'm a lot better now, type of thing.
Well,
Not always the case, because sometimes you just can't, you catch lightning in a bottle, and then I'm almost like trying to get back to that. Like, that was so good. Why can't I do something like that again?
well, I just like thinking about this, like, an athlete being the master athlete, but sitting on the couch watching TV. And I was just I'm kind of thinking about this, in the same way of our consciousness and, our unconscious, conscious, balance of life is these things you're talking about. It's like we need to be practicing them. We need, this needs to be a practice in our lives to find that those things. We can be the most genius ever, but how to bring it into our lives. I mean, I hope through mine and your art, we we bring it into each other's into others' lives. But how to then practice that blooming. And one of the things I got from Sora, she's an amazing Sumi ink artist who really inspired me at the beginning of this pandemic. Is she's just like bare feet on the ground and one step in front of the other, and I was like, that really speaks to me. And working forward and talking to people, connecting, growing art, and also like in consciousness too.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Just, I don't know, make the art, I will say. At some point, it's just as basic as I do a lot of work on like my kids just crush Cheerios. They eat like so many Cheerios, and so I always have these family size boxes. It's like there's some kind of canvas available for you. It doesn't have to be some fancy gallery canvas type of thing. So I don't know. I don't have a lot of excuses for people that say like they can't make art, given I feel like I have some of my most successful pieces are like on dictionaries or phone books or Cheerio boxes. It's like just make the art, like let others decide if it's worthy, I guess, of, but that's usually my advice to young artists. It's like they don't have very many followers, but they post stuff like once every 2 months, and you're like, I don't know. It's like you might be a lot better artist than me, but I'm making so much more art than you.
And you're putting it out there to the world.
Yeah. And the numbers just get crazy quick when you start looking at your like insights behind the scenes. You're like reaching almost 200,000 people a week, and you're like, I don't know, someone who grew up in a small town in the Midwest, those numbers start to like blow your mind. You're like, 200,000 people are seeing, even if it's just a quick scroll, it's like they're still kind of being in contact with the art.
Um, Art by EB. I think we talked a lot about the deeper meaning in Gabe's work earlier in the episode. So I'll post this and you can definitely go back and check it out.
But
Mm-hmm.
to answer the question quickly, I mean, for me, it does not necessarily need it, but for me, it does have deeper meaning. But I think maybe why it's been successful on Instagram and why I have gotten so many followers is it does kind of also just look pretty. Like colors, lines, like it all kind of hopefully is aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, I want to say one thing about the numbers and relate that a little bit to your question about like the interviewing. And I think for me, that's really about lifting each other up. That's really what it is. Because at the end of the day, we all kind of like, the consciousness and all of that is how can we move forward ourselves with our own work, our own conscious, building, but also be able to give a hand to others, ways that aren't, emptying our own baskets for
Right.
others, but like overflowing and helping. And so that's part of my doing these interviews is that we all kind of lift each other up. We all share these discussions with our followers, and everybody who's watching shares them. Hopefully the people who are following this, the people who follow them are able to also get something from it.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's one
that's
of the
my hope.
beautiful things about Instagram is the sharing aspect. And I mean, I love it when people post it on their stories. Like one of my pieces of work, I try to share that. I mean, not to put it too much out there, because if it adds too many more, it might be too difficult. But I do a lot of coaching for folks, just try to help them. I mean, I get a lot of like, how did you grow your account so big? And so I like to just give people some good feedback and help them grow. I mean, I feel maybe an obligation to help others on that front, because I don't think it's that difficult if you put in a little bit of time.
Well, why don't you give us some tips and ideas and a little bit of that coaching advice here?
I mean, I think, well, one is being authentic. I and that's a hard one because of some of the best accounts, just like everything is positive and it's just like some pithy quote or saying or whatever. And obviously, there's some people that like that because they wouldn't have these big followings without it. But that doesn't fill my bucket personally. I'd like to think I don't do a lot of selfies. I don't show my face too much, but I do kind of just ask questions. What would you want to title this? What's your personal take on this painting? What do you think the background color should be? So like I think a lot of people are kind of invested in me personally. I mean, I have some folks who've been around since I had like less than 200 followers, which is like the first year, who just like the art. And so for them, I feel like I'm sometimes making art for them in the sense of like, you've been with me from the beginning. I appreciate you so much. So I think like genuinely like appreciating the people who kind of have your back is a big part of it. It's like people can see if you're phony or if you have false gratitude versus like genuine gratitude, which is kind of where I'm at. I feel like in some ways, even though I haven't made it enormous, I'm already like living the dream in the sense of my hobby that I would be doing regardless is turned like lucrative, I guess. And um, that's all for me personally great. And I think, I mean, some of it is just as simple as take your photos outside. I just think the difference between a dark picture on Instagram and a naturally lit picture to me is like night and day. So I really go out of my way to take all the pictures kind of outside and make sure that it's with some good lighting and there's no weird glares or anything. Um, so I mean, those are some things, and then if you can get some popular accounts to like share your work, that's obviously super helpful. So
How did you go about that?
I, it always, if I'm being 100% honest, a lot of this has just been learned over the years when other people did it to me. they're like, hey, I'll like share mine and I'll share yours type of thing. And I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably a smart thing to do. Um, I mean, given my crazy schedule with work and being a dad, I will say that there's just a lot of things that I just kind of let happen, like this interview. I mean, I don't know. I kind of just say yes to stuff when it comes to me, but I haven't done very much of like going out and trying to find stuff. But I do kind of believe people that kind of see the work and like it will kind of gravitate to it.
Well, I think that's a very interesting thing that you said about like saying yes to things.
Yeah, I don't know. Like when I've been asked to be in group shows, I'm like, yeah, what else am I doing? It's so important. I can't add one painting. Or I've been a part of this thing called the Oakland Art Library, which
Oh
I think
yeah.
is pretty rad. And you like, it's like a monthly $20 or something, but then you can borrow a painting for up to 2 months. And then, I mean, most of the time, if people have my art in their house for 2 months, they've tended to buy it because they see that it's worthwhile. But I mean, it's things like that which started with I mean, it's gotten popular, but it started with like me being one of the like first artists to say yes. And they're like, can't believe you said yes, you're letting people borrow your work. I'm like, oh, I mean, I don't know, like see what happens. Try to have low stakes and not stress so much, at least about the art. I think it would be hard to be a professional artist because I do think I'd have to worry that much more about my image and that much more about sales all the time, or kind of making the art for other people, versus right now it's really just my baby, and if people want to pay me for it, great. But regardless, I'm going to be making it the rest of my life, so there's no reason to stack up thousands of paintings. Like,
Mm,
much rather than be in people's houses.
right. I think that's a very interesting point, is to be in people's houses, to be out there in the world. I find that really like a fascinating thing. Um, that seems like a big thing for you, is to be in people's homes, to be appreciated and to be thought about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I ever would want to underestimate what that means. I mean, like maybe it's the dopamine rush of all the likes or whatever, but like I won't underestimate that too as being a thing. Like I really do enjoy it when a painting does really well on Instagram. I really do enjoy it when it gets sold. And some of that's just who doesn't like external validation. I'm not one of these. I don't know. Sometimes you meet artists like, I don't care what anyone thinks about it. They can all burn in hell. This is my thing. Like, I'm not that grizzled yet. I mean, I will make the art regardless, but I really deeply do have gratitude when people share it, when people comment on it, like kind of interact with me. I mean, personally fills me up, makes me happy. So I think that's just not something that I would ever discount as mattering to me. I definitely want fans that enjoy it, people that have it in their house.
That's awesome. Yeah, like I appreciate, like there's so many people here just like commenting and being here with us. I appreciate that so much. Like it makes it really fun to do these, like that we're not just like, because I would do this anyway, just like be hanging out with you in the Bay Area and be having this conversation,
Yeah.
you know. But I love that kind of thing. That's what I did for many years, have these conversations. But now I'm just like, oh, like I really wish there was a way to share these conversations more and be able to have other people in on it. Because I'm like trying to explain, like trying to explain this conversation to people without them having like been here with us. It's very difficult.
Yeah, we talked about the universe and the Big Bang. And we happen to talk a little bit about some cubist weird faces.
It's always difficult to explain what is a moment, and And to have you all here, that's amazing. Can you say hello to our happy face?
Hello, happy face.
Hello, happy face with the stars and the eyes.
Gallery Arte S. Yeah.
S. S. Thank you. Yeah, make
Hello.
sure whoever's on here, whenever you watch this, make sure to follow both of us. What's your Instagram handle for them? For all the people?
Gabe _ Weiss, Weiss, just one S.
Perfect. Yeah, and I'm at Aaron Jack Line Art. So make sure to follow both of us. That's an important thing. It's an important thing to follow up.
Right?
Yes. So you were saying you might want to have some conversations with people. Who would you want to have a conversation with? If you could, like what
I mean, like
would you want
Jerry
to learn
Saltz would be like #1 on my list of art people. I just really think he's pretty wise, and I like what he has to say about art generally. I mean, any curator for like a major anything, I would probably be a little too intimidated, so maybe lower on the scale. Like I would talking to a curator at the Whitney or something might mean that I would just babble and just say nothing. But I think anyone that was kind of a little bit more deeper into the art world would fascinate me.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is who would, all these multifaceted people with multifaceted faces, like how the curiosity to see the faces.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. I'd love to talk to Jerry Saltz as well. So if anybody knows them, hook us up.
Hook it up. I got so
Hook
little.
it up, people. Hook it up. Add him. Everybody,
Yeah.
make a post.
Everyone.
Make a story. Add him. Okay. You got to check these guys out.
Yeah.
We've got some questions here. We've got some questions for you. So
there was a question about acrylics versus oil. I do think that's a thing. I have really sensitive sinuses, so if I'm being honest, like even when I use oil sticks, sometimes it's a little too much. So, and then given how small my studio is, I can't see a scenario where I'm fine with just having like these smelly oil paintings in my tiny studio and having like 20 of them drying over months. So, I mean, at some level, just real practical. I kind of need my studio to be in my backyard, just given that a lot of times I'm sneaking away to do 45 minutes type of thing. Like, it'd be nice if it was all like being in the flow state for 8 hours in a big studio with no distractions. But in the quarantine COVID life, it's a lot more about kind of sneaking away for whenever I can get a little times to dabble.
Wow, that's a really interesting point. How do you put yourself in the mind space for like 45 minutes and just like bam? How do you get in there with painting like that?
I mean, some of it, I think it is music for me. Just like the right type of music can really just get me in the mood quickly. I'm a big believer in just trying to get in a happy place or 5 minutes of meditation. I mean, I guess for me, it doesn't take that much. A lot of times, if it's just 45 minutes, I'm not necessarily also like starting a brand new piece. A lot of times, it's more like the one behind me. It might be going over some of those boxes with some different colors or the same color just to give it a little bit more opaqueness. So, I mean, sometimes you don't really need to be in the flow state if you've already kind of created the image for the most part, and now it's more about like coloring it in.
So it's maybe little pieces that you're kind of getting back in there for those 45 minutes. You kind of flow state the big overall.
Yeah.
That feels nice. We've got some big comments here. Oh yeah, pure energy multiverse. Thank you. Thank you. Both awesome artists and encouraging, souls in ourselves. I appreciate your guys' encouragement. That's the big thing. And encouragement with these lives, I love it when you all tune in.
Right?
And comment afterwards. Like I post it, all of these comments go away. So make sure to comment and we'll like be there. And share it afterwards. Share these afterwards with all of your friends. Encourage them. So gone the acrylic route, says Vincent Leary art. Sit with a painting in the attic. I get too many words with I'm in. You need to boil your question down if I'm gonna read it out loud.
That seems fair. Nice and cogent.
Like, at a certain point, after like a certain amount of time, I can only read so many words while I'm like trying to understand, and I'm like trying to translate.
Thank you, Joey. By the way, Joey Feldman, artist, is pretty darn rad. And
oh yeah,
he'd be a good one to interview.
Oh yeah, add me, send me a DM. And I think tomorrow I'm thinking about making it an open one, where just like sometimes I'll just have anybody call in for a couple minutes and just like chat, whoever's following me, just like show me your art.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
So feel free to tune into that one. I might have, you might have to like check back in for a minute. I love that because it like, people come back and check back in, all that stuff.
Yeah, so, create a kind of community out of it. I love it.
Exactly. Well, I have the Freedom Tapestry project, which I do with, it's like between Syria, LA, and then I'm in Pittsburgh, and we have like all of these people all around the world. So we do that first Thursday of the month. So what music are you listening to? What's the music that you're getting into right now?
I mean, it's funny because, I really do listen to everything, but they're kind of going back to the Jerry Stoltz, like, but I'm a fucking genius. I really like some hip hop, like it not necessarily for the words, but just for this getting into this flow of like feeling yourself. I think it's just not necessarily a place that I'm always just comfortable just being like, I am the shit. So if you listen to some like Pusha T or like Kendrick Lamar or something like that, like it's hard not to just like feel like it's like I'm feeling myself. And then it's like I really love like Manu Chao and kind of like a Latin American soulful, like, and then if in the right mood, it'll be like Miles Davis or Nina Simone. But, and then sometimes it's like I'm low energy, and so it'll be like Rage Against the Machine or some like techno beats or something that's just super high energy. I noticed, so I started asking people for playlists and whatnot, and I got some amazing playlists. But it was interesting to me how many people kind of paint to like more like trancey music. And I feel like for me, I guess, because I paint so much at night, I'm trying to do the most upbeat things ever to keep that flow and high energy. So yeah, generally, unless it's a interesting, weird mood where I'm trying to be soulful or something. So yeah, the balance of Nina Simone and Rage Against the Machine, somewhere in between there.
That's beautiful. I love it. It's just good, like, what different artists listen to and where they're at right now. We're each waking up at a new day. So what's your what's the next thing that you're working on or you'd love to work on?
I'm so excited about some collaborations that I have coming up. I feel bad because I'm just so bad with names. So some of these folks I just can't
check them out
name drop,
IG.
but you'll see them on IG soon. I mean, like, to me, that's probably top 3 reasons I love Instagram is that I'm gonna do a collaboration with this like Australian artist that I just sent a piece to, who's going to kind of work over it and do her thing. And like, I don't know, I'm just super excited about collaborations. I've got another one with Julie. Look, me.
Oh, that's
Julie.
Julie. That's
Julie.
Julie Art.
Yeah, she's amazing. I have one of her pieces up in my living room that's like a window piece, but we're going to do a kind of collaboration with some photos that I'm really excited about. And she's even mailing it out today.
Today.
We're
Today. She's like
making business moves. I love it. But I mean,
how much more cool is that? How cool is that? That's cool. So cool.
So, I mean, and recently some people have just like, you should collaborate with, like, there's an artist, Luke Schroeder, who you should interview because I'd love to hear what he says about life. But someone was just like, you should do a collaboration with him. His stuff is real trippy and like in a really good way. But I, yeah, I really love collaborations because I wouldn't say I'm limited, but I have my kind of style and brand. So there's something that I like to expand a little bit of what it can do, but I think, doing that with other artists is something I personally really enjoy.
I agree. Oh, we've got some love from India right here. We're in India. That's
Yes.
India's so vast.
It really is.
I'm trying to talk to some galleries in India. So if you all know any,
hook it up. Get us both there. I was trying to a couple years ago move to Cochin. I don't know if you've been there in Kerala, but like I really love that town.
Oh man, tell me about your experience in Cochin.
I mean, it's just so multicultural, and I just love this melting pot of like every different culture. There's like an old Jewish part of Cochin, and it also is like it's socialist, which as someone on the side of politics I love. And then it's also, I think, when you talk to people, it's like where women do the best. Like there's the most kind of equality of any state in India. And I just love this idea of like both treating people well from an economic standpoint and from just all races and sexes being treated well. And so you have that, and then you have like some of the best food in the world and beaches, and I don't know what's not to like about it.
It's like a 95% literacy rate in Kerala. It's crazy.
Yeah. It just feels like, I don't know, India in general is hard to come back to the United States because like people have so much less than we do. But I would say almost everyone I met was happier than like the happiest person you meet in the United States. So like, I guess I deeply appreciate people that are fine with what they have. I mean, I've really tried to get into stoicism.
Oh, I love stoicism there. I was really into that when I was in India.
Yeah.
I came back and I'm like, what is this feeling that I have inside of me? It's like, oh, it's like stoicism.
Yeah. Being content with what you have, and if you lose it, still being content. I mean, to me, really kind of exemplifies, I guess, how I try to live my life.
Yeah, Sonia's in Bangalore. Oh, talking about dosas, MTR. Oh my God. If you ever go to Bangalore, get some MTR dosa.
Done.
So we got to get some. So Sonia, your job is to get us. You got a job now, Sonia. You're gonna get us in contact with some galleries in Bangalore, and we're gonna talk to them.
Yeah.
We're gonna get some dosa art going on.
Yeah.
Let's see. Someone says, Rob, someone once told me that if I ever got the chance to visit Kashmir, I now give others the same advice. Have you been to Kashmir? Have you been there? I've not been to Kashmir. I met a guy going to Kashmir.
Seems like a bad time at the moment, but yeah.
It's a bad time for going anywhere. It's a good time to sit. I think it's not about the matter of bad times. It's a good time to sit in our own homes.
Yeah.
And talk to each other online.
Right.
Great time for that.
Perfect time for that.
Perfect time to paint. Perfect time to connect with others. Perfect time to lift each other up. That's where we're at right now. This is the perfect time.
I'm with you. I like it. Not quite perfect, but it's the stoicism of just like, you got to make the best of it. I mean, like, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you have to be content that your own brain is going to be fine with the current affairs of things. So control what you can control, which I think is helpful for artists who tend to be a little bit more introverted. I'm kind of extroverted because of the politics, but I had this last year, I've kind of fallen in love with just more alone time and deeper kind of conversations with myself, but also connecting with friends deeper, like you're saying. I love just, if anyone ever wants to just chat while I paint, I really like kind of talking on the phone, because then you don't feel bad. Whereas right now, if I was painting, I'd kind of be a jerk, so I wouldn't be giving you eye contact. But call me up sometime, folks. We'll chat. As long as I can paint while I do it, I'm thrilled.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that's the thing that I was also like having fun with, is like painting with other people, like just like painting while on these lives together. Like it's kind of fun, you know? Like I love like painting with musicians or painting with like other people doing interesting stuff. Oh man, that's like live and including people in on it. Should visit Indian Art Fair. Oh yeah, the Indian Art Fair. That's awesome. That's awesome. Perfect, says Rob. Perfect time to think about places we will go someday while planning a safe supermarket trip next week.
Yeah.
Beautiful said.
Yeah, for real.
I appreciate you all. So one more time before we go, where can everybody find you?
Instagram at Gabe_Weiss, or GabeWeiss.com is the website. Those are probably the two best places.
Great. And why don't you share some words of inspiration, words of wisdom, whatever you want to share from your heart to the people?
You're all fucking geniuses. Steal it from Jerry Saltz. Just like, he also just says, like, just make the art, you big baby. Like, I don't know. It's like, try not to get too much in your feelings, and just when in doubt, keep making art, I think has really kind of been whenever you're feeling bad, make art. If you don't like the work, paint over it, but like, just keep making art.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
It was so fun. I really appreciate you reaching out. Glad I said yes. And sorry about all the technical stuff, but it's amateur hour over here. What can you do?
No, that's the beautiful thing, is we're all here in this together.
Right?
We just say yes and go for it.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate you, Aaron. I had a good time. Hopefully this will stay up for a while, and some people that didn't get to catch it live will check in on us.
They will. All right.
Cool.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here with us.
Thank you. Take care, Aaron.
All right. Take care. All right. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate Gabe Weiss for being here with us today. I appreciate you all for being here, being present, watching now, whenever now is, the multifaceted faces of yourself. Make sure to go follow Gabe and myself. I'm at Aaron Jack Line Art. I'm here usually every Tuesday, and then at Aaron Jack Line Art. And then Thursdays, I'm at Freedom Tapestry Project. So make sure to follow me there on Thursdays. A whole bunch more amazing artists. Make sure to check out all of the ones that I've posted in the past, because there's so many amazing people. And DM the artist. Just be like, hey, thank you. Tell them something. Comment. Share something that you liked about being here with us on these on this artist to art. DM the artist. I think they really appreciate that you were here with us and to know that you were present with us. That really means a lot to a lot of the artists. So even if you check out works, the arts from the past, DM the artist, send them a message, and tell them something you enjoyed or learned from the discussion with them from artist to art. That would really be awesome. And make sure to comment, share this with your friends when it's posted. Follow Aaron Jack Line Art, follow Gabe Weiss. I'll see you soon. Thank you for tuning in to season 2, the start of season 2, 2021. I appreciate you all. Thank you.